Borderlands 4 is making many big changes, with the game featuring large seamless open zones, new traversal mechanics, new features on how loot works, and even deeper customization for your 4 Vault Hunters. So I want to tell you everything you need to know. Thanks to 2K for sponsoring the video. Totally check Borderlands 4 out via the link in the video description, which also really supports the channel. Now, definitely the biggest change in Borderlands 4 is the way that the world is designed. Rather than the many instant zones that the previous games offered, the new planet of Kairos is divided into 4 large zones that can be seamlessly explored. While we don't have the exact map size, people have used pre-launch material to calculate a rough estimate, which comes down to 54 square kilometers. And these 4 maps should be filled with things to do, like silos that function as a fast travel point and show nearby points of interest. You obviously have more combat focused objectives, like having to protect a drone while they're hacking into a propaganda station or fighting a boss enemy that spawns out in the world, but there are also different kinds of content thanks to locations such as ancient crawlers, where you have to carry a battery to the top of a structure that hinders your movement options, so it's kind of like a platforming puzzle. Many locations will also reward you with resources that allow you to unlock valuable SDUs. Quick refresher, SDUs are used to expand things like ammo capacity or the amount of items you can carry in your backpack, but in previous titles you had to buy these with money or iridium at a vendor. So every point of interest seems to at least offer an interesting reward, meaning you'll definitely want to complete as many as you can. And the absolute highlights are likely going to be the vaults, which are dungeon-like encounters that end with a fight against a powerful boss. You have to collect vault fragments through exploration to form a key if you want to enter these dungeons, but they seem to offer some massive upgrades, like this one, which increases the regeneration speed of your glide ability. Which is another huge new addition to Borderlands 4, as you can now use this move to cross large gaps or slow your descent when jumping from a high altitude. Now, to be fair, Borderlands 3 already made some huge improvements to traversal by adding things like sliding and mantling, but Borderlands 4 is really taking it to the next level, because you can now, for example, combine your glide with the new double jump. Add the fact that you can also climb specific surfaces, and it should totally make the platforming segments a lot more interesting. You also have a quick directional dash, which is amazing in combat as it allows you to quickly reposition yourself and can even be used mid-air to change your direction. So that's sure to come in handy for some of the massive AoE attacks from the new bosses. But the biggest addition is the grappling hook, as it has a ton of different uses for both combat and exploration. You can grapple to a point, which can help you cross a gap or quickly leap up a floor, adding a ton of verticality to combat encounters. The silos I mentioned earlier can also be used as a launch point to propel yourself up into the air, after which you can glide to fly in the direction of your next objective. And you're also able to interact with other objects in the environment, like opening a hatch to enter a new area or grabbing explosive items from the battlefield to then throw at your enemies. And with Vault being able to upgrade some of these abilities, I think high-level combat in this game is going to look pretty insane. One problem that comes with the bigger maps and added traversal options is that it's way easier to get lost, but that is where your new drone companion Echo 4 comes in. This little guy allows you to scan your environment to highlight useful objects, and he can also point out a trail that will lead you directly to the next objective. And while Borderlands 4 will still have a ton of side and main quests, there's been a very welcome change in their design. The developers have noted that many quests will no longer require you to turn them in at a quest giver, meaning that as soon as you complete the final objective, you receive your rewards and are free to continue exploring. There's also a dynamic weather system and dynamic events, such as this crashing spaceship that drops its cargo that you can go and investigate, or this order dropship that you can go and board to take it out. So even as you keep playing in the 4 different zones, things are constantly changing and new encounters will show up to keep you entertained. And yes, maybe you already saw it, but we now also have a brand new vehicle. And real quick, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video so far and subscribe for way more Borderlands content. So this new piece of equipment is called the Digirunner, and it will be a big help in traversing these larger maps faster. Now, while previous Borderlands games all had vehicles, what's new here is that you can summon the Digirunner to your location, rather than having to find a catch-a-ride station to summon one. What's also cool is that the handling for the vehicle is decided by what hover drive you pick, but that does not change the visuals of your Digirunner. For that, there's a separate category of cosmetic-only parts that you need to find in order to pimp your ride. Okay, now let's talk about Vault Hunters, as Borderlands 4 of course offers 4 new playable characters with their own unique set of skills. One big change is that next to an action skill, augments to modify that skill, and a passive tree, every Vault Hunter now also has a unique trait. This is effectively another passive that that you don't need to unlock as it's active from the start, but it heavily influences the potential builds and playstyles that are available on that character. Take Vex for example, the new Siren that has access to magical blasts and a ton of summoning powers. Her unique trait changes the element of her action skill to match her currently equipped weapon, meaning you'll be even better at exploiting enemy weaknesses. Rafa, the high-tech soldier, has a trait called Overdrive, which is a buff that triggers when you use an action skill and increases movement speed and damage. So you want to make sure you find some way to reduce your cooldowns to activate Overdrive more often when playing as him. The Elemental Knight Amon gives each of his action skills an additional use by holding down the button, which is why his moveset looks so insanely varied in that gameplay reveal trailer. And while we don't know the trait for our final Vault Hunter Harlowe yet, I have a feeling it has something to do with the entanglement status effect that is unique to her, which allows you to spread damage between linked enemies. And every Vault Hunter's passive skill tree is also more expansive than ever, offering a main tree and 3 subsections per action skill rather than a singular tree. Now with a looter shooter, another main component of your build is of course your guns, as Borderlands 4 will once again feature a massive number of unique weapons. In case you need a refresher, the main deciding factor in how these handle is their manufacturer, as every brand adds a unique modifier to weapons of any kind, so no matter if it's a revolver, a shotgun or an assault rifle. There are many returning favorites like the precision-based Jacobs that ricochet their bullets when you score a headshot, the fast-firing Vladov and the disposable Tediore that you literally throw away instead of reloading. But we also have 3 new manufacturers: Order, Ripper and Daedalus. Order weapons can be charged up to fire an even more powerful blast and reward patience and precision. Meanwhile, Ripper kind of takes the spot of COV/Bandit from prior games, giving you access to exclusively full auto weaponry with high ammo capacity. And finally, Daedalus reminds me of Dahl, being a reliable weapon manufacturer with decent accuracy, but instead of switching between burst and full auto, we now get to switch ammo types, meaning an assault rifle might come with a shotgun attachment as well. But the coolest new feature when it comes to loot is the new licensed parts system. Basically, weapons can now contain parts of a different manufacturer, with higher rarity weapons containing more licensed parts. What that means is that you can combine certain behaviors. So you can have a fast-firing Vladov assault rifle with a torque magazine that adds explosive rounds and a Hyperion portable shield. This makes finding new high rarity gear super exciting, as the perfect combination of licensed parts can make a true monster of a weapon. And to add even more excitement to the gear grind, legendaries have been made significantly more rare than they were in Borderlands 3. That game would sometimes shower you with orange gear, so I'm glad that finding the highest rarity of weapon will feel like something special again. And lower rarity gear has become much more exciting too because of the parts system, so there is a lot to look forward to. Farming for the perfect weapons and items is made way easier in Borderlands 4 as well, thanks to the Moxsy's Encore machine that you can use to both reset missions and bosses. The best part is that for bosses, this simply makes them respawn in their arena without a loading screen. So that will no doubt save you a lot of time and make it easier to get the boss specific drops that are also returning in Borderlands 4. And there's even more loot to further customize your build, as next to weapons there are also some new types of gear that are going to be very handy. First up is Ordnance, which replaces the grenade slot of your loadout. That doesn't mean grenades are gone, but they've now been put in an expanded category that also includes rocket launchers, cannons and even throwing knives. These don't have an ammo counter and work on a cooldown timer instead, so you no longer have to manage your heavy ammo and save it for an elite or boss enemy. On the defensive side, you now have a rep kit, an injector of sorts that can heal you mid-combat. But as you find different versions of this rep kit, it will also include buffs like increased elemental damage, rate of fire or movement speed. Both these item categories will have their behavior enhanced by manufacturers too, like we can see that Jacob's Ordnance crit when you hit a weak point, and the order-made rep kits come with an extra charge. Finally, there are also enhancement items that take the place of artifacts from Borderlands 3. While still giving passive buffs, these seem to be mostly focused on empowering specific manufacturers, which is made extra interesting thanks to the new part system, as a single weapon can now fall under multiple manufacturers. Before we wrap things up, as you've maybe seen, we've used footage from multiple content creators to make this preview, so make sure to check out their content too. I'll link all of them in the video description, and you can check out Borderlands 4 via the link in the video description as well. Subscribe for more content on the game, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!